Hello and welcome to the Two Brain Marketing Podcast. I am your host, Mateo Lopez, and I'm one of the digital marketing mentors at Two Brain Business. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be your weekly dose of digital marketing magic, and every week we'll go over marketing campaign strategies, useful tips, and updates just to keep you in the loop on the ever-changing landscape of advertising on the internet for your business. In today's episode, we have a very special guest. We have Oskar from CrossFit Medis. I'm really excited because we're going to learn all about him, his gym. And what's most exciting, I think, is that last year he spent around $15,000 US in advertising spend, and he was able to generate from those paid ads $200,000 in front-end sales. So that's a big return. It's not totally typical, but I do want to learn because it is pretty special. I do want to learn the magic behind Oskar's operations. So how are you?
I'm really good. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. So for those tuning in, I mean, you're a Two Brain mentor, so people may now know a little bit about you and your story. I know you've had some guest blog posts and things like that, but for those who don't, who are you? Where are you from? And tell us a little bit about your business.
Cool. This is going to be the Twitter version of
the Twitter version.
Right. So me and my business partner, Carl, who is also a mentor here in Two Brain, we opened a gym about 5 years ago. We both have corporate jobs. In the past, he was in sales. I was in a banker. I used to help, multinational corporations handle their liquidity, and I also worked in foreign exchange. And so about 5 years ago, for different reasons, we quit that and decided to open a gym in Stockholm. So that's where we are. We have been mentors for Two Brain for north of a year, I think. We've been in Two Brain as clients for more than 2 years, I think.
And you're on the seminar staff, right?
Correct. Yes. So the gym runs itself pretty much. So I balance my time trying, keep up with my 7-year-old daughter. I have the opportunity to travel around the world on the weekends to give people the level one, the material on the level one, and teach people to squat. And I also can teach and hopefully inspire gym owners around the world to become better at running their business. So I like helping people both in coaching and also in running a gym more efficiently.
That's awesome. And so how long has your gym been open?
5 years.
And what was how has your business changed? Like, what was your business like prior to Two Brain and mentorship, and how has it changed since implementing what you've learned through the incubator?
Right. So we started the gym as a business. So we both had that going into it. We had, we left pretty decent paying jobs. We had families when we started it. So we had to make money from the start. So
what do you mean you started it as a business? You mean some people started as a hobby? Is that what you're saying?
I've heard so. I've heard people do that, right?
Oh, okay.
We had a 5-year plan. We had a budget. We had, cash flow projections. We had a rudimentary, business plan. However, we were kind of contrarian because we've left that part of the world. So we wanted to get rid of structure and corporate, organization.
No more meetings, only CrossFit.
Right. And now it kind of comes back because, now when we have a GM, we need that stuff. So it all comes back we need that stuff in place, but that's where we started it. And we had the understanding of we wanted to do CrossFit for regular people, so to say. We had no intention at all to run it for athletes. We've had from the start a shirt on policy. The gym where we started, it's only
shirts on policy.
Right.
Wow.
Here's the thing. When we started, it was like about 15 gyms in Stockholm. So we said, if you don't really care, then we are one of 15. But if you really care about not wanting to join a gym where people take shirts off, we're the only one. So to play to the odds, or we use that to increase our odds.
So that was your first strategic advantage, maybe, was
Right.
shirts on.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
And then, so the place is, we're still in that gym, but that's a 9-foot ceiling. So we couldn't do RX wall balls, for instance. And we didn't really know that when we moved in, but 2 stories above us is the Red Cross Center for tortured refugees. So we can't really drop any barbells.
Right. Right. A lot of clanging and banging is probably not good for recovery from post-traumatic stress. Okay, well, tell people about the layout of your gym, because it is unique. You do have a different kind of layout.
Yeah. So we're at the bottom of a office building. There are 9 stories above us, and if we drop barbells, they hear us all the way up to the 9th floor. We've actually tested it, and it's true. So we were there for 3 years. We had pretty cheap rent, even though we're center of Stockholm. But then 3 years in, the landlord said, we're going to raise your rent by 94%. So we said, okay, that's a lot. We couldn't really, yes. And we were at max capacity. We had like 175 members. We ran classes, 5, 6, 11, noon, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, pretty much. So we were at max capacity. We have about 1,400 square feet of workout area. So you can fit 12 people in safely, but that's about it. But inside the office building, there's a smaller, basketball court. So we eventually, after a year of negotiating with a lawyer, we got this place as well. So we have 2 rooms in the same building. They're joined with a small corridor, 100 feet apart or something. So we run classes concurrently. That place is kind of the same size. It's obviously a higher ceilings, but it's 1,400 square feet for workout area there as well.
You also have the recovery room, right?
Right. Yes. So we do have we have a small. We have obviously saunas as well, right? Because that kind of came with when we bought or when we rented the basketball area, which is nice to have, but we have to pay rent for it. So of the area we pay rent for, we can only use about 46% of it to actually work out at, because then we have storage area and stuff like that. So it's not an optimal place to run a gym at.
Yeah, especially if you can't drop weights.
Yeah, because we can't drop weights, and our rent is about we pay north of 11,000 a month, and that gives us 2 rooms of 1,400 square feet of workout area.
Wow. So for those who didn't catch that, he says 11,000 a month.
Yes, US. And
he can't drop weights.
Nope.
And he's still rocking and rolling. It is possible, everyone. It is possible. That's awesome. So, okay. And so then you came in with a business background. You came in knowing that, hey, this is a thing that has to exist at some point without us, and it needs to make money for us and our families. So, but then what prompted you to sign up for mentorship in the first place?
Yeah, so our original business plan was, because we got fed up of working big corporations where they do annual health checkups, but they're useless. So we were frustrated, and then we said that we're going to target corporate market, and we're going to run, corporate welfare programs at the gym. And then we're just going to run the CrossFit individual CrossFit classes as club, so to say. We switched that around, but that was the intent from the beginning. I'm going to talk about that as well, because so for the CrossFit members, we charge like $45 from the beginning, because that was just going to be an add-on fine thing for us. But over time, we've changed that. We've raised the prices yearly from like 45 to 75 to 95 to 105 to 135 to 165 over the 5 years. So if you would have known from the beginning that we were going to run the more traditional CrossFit gym, we wouldn't have started with $45 a month, obviously.
Right.
But you're right. So that was like where we started, and we knew that we were, we wanted to run the corporate thing because we thought there was money in it, and we also thought that it was, you know, the way corporate wellness programs run was not particularly efficient. But at some point, we kind of switched from going to corporate side to more traditional individuals, and at some point we saw that this is not going to be a lifelong commitment. That because we have families, we can't run this, the two of us, with some extra help from part-time coaches. This needs to stay. We've made a commitment to our clients and to their families and our families as well, and this is not gonna fly if we don't get external help.
So you're saying you had a strategy, you were kind of trying to land these corporate wellness deals, and that wasn't working. You started to pivot, and I guess were you just not seeing the growth that you needed to see, or were you two working a lot and burning out? What was the?
No, I think like we weren't working a lot. We're probably working, less than 40 hours a week, but we were coaching the majority of the classes, the two of us, and we enjoyed that. But we were at capacity. We couldn't really bring in more members. And at some point, we got kids who want to take the summers off and stuff like that. And we saw that, now we have people here that have lost 20 pounds to 30 pounds. We have people that have met in the gym. We've made a commitment to them, even though we just have monthly memberships. We can't treat everyone as a lifetime member. We want to improve their life, throughout life. So, and we said that on the path we're running right now, this is not going to be sustainable. So not for us, not for the coaches, not for our members, and not for our families. So then we needed external help.
And okay, great. So I see. And your prices were really low. So that was a problem. Like your arm was, it sounds like your arm was pretty low. And that was kind of an issue, right. It sounds like.
Especially when it comes to the private. We were doing pretty good because we had some corporates that would pay, big tickets. But when we made it pivot, we thought it's going to be easier to attract individuals, because we were like 4 or 5 years behind you guys. So this is like in 2014, 2015, which is kind of like the equivalent of your 2011, 2012-ish.
Got it. Okay, and then so you signed up for mentorship, and what changes did you see in your business afterwards?
Tremendous. And we had been lurking for quite some time. We've been following Chris and the Two Brain for quite some time. So we've been implementing some of the strategies, but we were kind of tired of treating ourselves as corporate, because we came from that. So we didn't really want to have flow charts or processes written down. We wanted to be shoot from the hip, because we're tired of feeling like we're a suit. But that's where we kind of had to come back. And our mentor first said that you have to be like McDonald's. I'm like, I don't want to be associated with McDonald's. But the consistency of McDonald's, I can't say that I go there too often, but I don't really know if I've ever been disappointed or pleasantly surprised. You know what you're going to get if you go to McDonald's. So that's really where we started of solidifying and codifying our culture. So it was pretty clear that the way we run our business, our systems live in, our culture lives in our systems.
I like that. Yeah, I really like that. I think what you're touching on is kind of the first lesson in the incubator is the vision and value section, and how that needs to be, as you said, codified and written down somewhere so that it lives in your standard operating procedures. It lives in the way in which your coaches do things in your gym and do the service. And then it also helps, it helps in the long run too, because if that's not clear and written down and codified, like you said, it's going to be hard to teach that to your staff and to make that experience consistent. If you have a certain value or way or brand promise for your gym, you're talking about McDonald's, you need that to be written down and codified, like you said, so it's consistently being expressed through every aspect of customer engagement in your service. Cool. So, all right. So that was a big, it sounds like having someone reel you back in and say, hey, I get that you were shooting from the hip before, but you know some of this stuff. So just, go back. So that sounds like that was a big turning point for you guys. What else? Tell me a little bit about, you mentioned this a little bit before, which is you have a commitment to your clients and your staff once you open your doors. What do you mean by that?
Like, I think that we have these people come together, and obviously they have a contractual agreement that we should deliver some kind of service, thrusters and burpees, and they fork over some money. But I think it's bigger than that, and that's something I realized in last year, that it's like a silent agreement of people coming together. And our part in that is making sure that we can stay on top to deliver them thrusters and burpees, but throughout life it's going to be ups and downs. But the commitment we've done to these people is to improve their life throughout, so they can improve their families. If they're if they have kids, they want them to be better parents. If they or inspire their parents to be get off the couch. So I think it's we started as a fun thing, as a business, it's cool to work out, but I think it's far bigger than that now. That this commitment that we have is something we take really seriously, and that's probably, as you mentioned, the number one reason why we just can't shoot from the hip anymore. Consistency is very important to us, and we're probably gonna get into a bit of marketing, paid advertising, but we've been very fortunate in the way paid advertising has worked for us, but to the point where we burnt out 3 coaches. They were working too much, so we were too successful. So now Carl, my business partner, is phenomenal at talking to each. When we bring coaches on, we don't talk about coaching their squat or metabolic pathways or something. We just start by talking about values. So it sits down and for an hour just talks about values, and so we kind of at the point now where, so regardless of what the problem is, the answer is always your values. So I think Spirit Glassman said, the regardless of what the problem is, the answer is always your squat, but for the business, it's always the values. So Carl takes them through that, and that's something we're trying to reiterate all the time, because it's so easy to get caught up in thrusters and burpees or whatever, but that's only manifested in the way we actually deliver a service, and that's through our values.
Yeah, if you have a problem, or if you have a question, you turn to your core values, and it should be right there. The answer should be right there for you.
Right.
Awesome. So, yeah, tell me a little bit about that. How often do you check in with your coaches? It sounds like from what you're telling me, we at Two Brain, we sit down with our members on a regular basis, have what we call goal setting sessions to check in with them. It sounds like you do that with your coaches. Tell me a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so currently we got 3 full-time coaches, and then it's Carl and myself is also like full-time, or we don't do anything else. Obviously we do some mentoring and some stuff like that, but we're on payroll. And then we got a GM, a nutrition coach, like 20%, and then we got 5 or 6 part-time coaches. And Carl sits down to talk with the coaches like weekly on life. How do you feel it's going? And then I'm trying to focus more on the coaching. So we're trying to check in at least weekly on the full-time coaches, and then eventually going to do the same thing with our part-time coaches as well. And then we continuously produce material for our coaches to train, in terms of like how do we effectively coach our athletes, or so we try to check in with them regularly, because since we have now stepped away from being the baker, or we're not really, we don't really have the icon problem anymore. We have to make sure that our coaches deliver the same kind of message and service that we did in the beginning. So it's really important that we check in with them, to see that they are actually doing what we want them to do.
Carl checks in and makes sure, hey, make sure that whatever their life professional goals are, that you're still what you're offering them is still in line with that, and making sure that they're working the amount of hours they want to work, and making what they want to make, and sleeping the amount they want to sleep. And then you're there for the quality control. So right. tell me a little bit about how do you check in on how do you do quality control on your coaches when they're doing like classes? How do you do that?
Yeah. So the simplest way is that what we found is that works the best is we have them record we set up a camera, so they record the class, and then they watch it, I watch it, they write down, what they think was good, what can be improved. I do the same thing. We based it on, the 6 criteria that we teach on the level 2, the teaching, seeing, correcting, presence and attitude, group management, and demonstration. And then we grade them 1 to 10. Doesn't really matter where the numbers are, but then we just find something to focus on for next time. And then we just keep, reiterating the process. So I watch them coach in 2x because I can't really watch the entire.
Well, I was going to say, how many hours are you spending watching videos a week?
Well, I don't know. You don't have to watch the entire session, because if you watch the entire session, you can just, when the warm up is over, when, the technique, whatever. If you just focus on one thing, it doesn't really matter start something. It's just like, where do we start? Well, anywhere. So I just want to focus on one thing, see that they're improving on that thing, and then we move on to the next.
I think what you just said is so valuable, because I remember when I was starting working through the incubator, and you're just like, I got to track all this stuff. I got to create all these systems. I got to create all these processes. And it's like, no, just pick one thing, one metric, one thing you want to measure. And then once you regularly start measuring that, then you pick the next thing and the next thing. So it's like, let's focus on coaches' warm-ups. Let's just look at that for the next 2 weeks and just do that. And then we'll move on to their strength and them teaching barbell stuff. And then we'll move on to the metabolic conditioning part. So that's amazing. All right, cool. So you watch videos, you have them watch it, you grade it, and you discuss and work on, and then give them their points of improvement. That's amazing. So, all right. And I think that you mentioned paid advertising. I want to bring that up because you've been talking about consistency of service, right? You have to deliver excellence and you have to do it every time. And I think that's probably a big part of what's led to your success in some of the paid advertising, because last year alone, you spent, a little over $15,000 in ads, and you were able to generate, over 200,000 in front end sales, just front end sales from these ads. So tell us a little bit about your paid advertising system and why you think you've been able to have such awesome results.
Yeah. So obviously this has come at a cost. We'll probably, don't forget, we need to mention that as well. We've burnt out some coaches. I want to, if I forget, let's come back to that. Because if you just look at the numbers, like, 200,000 in front, and they should be killing it. We are doing really well right now, but
there was some collateral damage. There was some collateral damage. We lost some good soldiers on the way.
Right. And so but if we just start where we are currently, so I think I told Chris that the first time I spoke to him, like, what we try to do when we get, at least especially when I get told, this is the way to do it, I'll see if I can break it. I try to reverse engineer it and break it to improve it. And because I think I have that obligation. I think we did the same thing with marketing as well, because we start with the traditional, the default 1.0 two-brain marketing thing, but as quickly as I could, I try to destroy it, because I think that we've made an agreement with all the other two-brain clients to try and improve it. And if everybody just doing the same thing, there's going to be a regression to the mean. We're not going to have exponential returns. So there's got to be someone that from time to time brings in something that makes that jump from like 0 to 1. So that's what we're looking for. So we've been tinkering around quite a bit with paid marketing, but what we come down back to is that we put together a video for a I don't even know if we say it's 6 weeks, but we essentially it's a 6-week program.
Yeah, you have your front end service or your fitness program that you're offering. You have this video,
right? And we've done really well produced material from a good videographer, and that was doing well. But we have one that I shot in a GoPro, so it's like fisheye, and it looks pretty weird. and what we did in the first, we even specifically say there's kind of 6 week, and we said the price. We try to edit that out a few times, so it squeaks and quicks and cuts, and it's funky as hell, but it works really well. And we bring in, so everybody comes in on the same front end offer. We have a picture of, Facebook. They come to the landing page to see this video that's been chopped up a few times now, but it's still delivering. And we have a price on the website, on the landing page, because we want to filter people out, because we don't want anyone to come in and take time. But even though we market a 6 week thing at $450, only 60% actually end up buying that. We sell a lot of nutrition and personal training based on a video. We even produced a nice looking video for personal training, but this funky one, the 6 week thing where the price is on, converts better than the other one. So I don't think it's anything else about pure and sheer luck that it works really well for us.
So tell me a little bit about, so someone sees this ad, they watch your video, your funky video, they inquire, what happens? Yeah,
so as I said, we post the price. We didn't do that. We've been doing that for like 6 months now, because we want to filter out people, because our cost per lead are so low, so they're really low currently. They're like $8 with the price. So we want to filter out people. Then we put out, we have a planning site, traditional one, tell them what we're looking for. We specifically say we don't want people that just want to do the 6 week or the time-based thing. This is a long-term commitment. And then they schedule a no sweat intro. And
so they schedule, and then what happens?
Yeah, so we obviously have lead nurture in place. However, because we've been down to like $4 at the beginning of the year to acquire lead, and they know the price, it actually costs us more to nurture the leads than just wait for someone else to book and call us. So
yeah, so you have a unique problem. You just have too many people inquiring that for you to follow up, you're burning money. You're burning staff costs.
And that's currently we are at like 275 members, and we can't have any more group members come in. So we keep running the same funky video because it works so well, but we're trying to convert people on nutrition and personal training instead, because we can't really fit any more group people in.
So you use it as like a Trojan horse. They inquire about this thing, and then you're like, hey, by the way, I'm not going to sell you this thing. I'm going to sell you.
No, we try to pride ourselves in not selling. We just want to make people buy.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I understand what you're saying, but everything we do is from health perspective. And we do turn away, like, I'd say 8 of 10 are signed up with some kind of service, because we filter them up pretty hard. We even say that when we call them up before the sort of intro, that if you're just looking for a fat burning boot camp, there are other places that work harder than us, because we're just this is not the place for you. But we try to, and we also send people to other gyms. If they live too far away from our gym, we send them other way, because we want people to come to us for the right reason.
And tell me a little bit about that. What happens when they sit down in front of you? How does that intro process work?
Yeah, so currently it's myself and Carl that does that, because we enjoy that, and our coaches are pretty full with doing goal reviews and personal training and running classes. But we're probably going to make our GM do them fairly soon. So we give them a tour of a gym. We have posters of members, and we have some other things to show that it's very important for us to show that we are evidence-based. So we have the level method system, but regardless of what you have, we talk about measurable results. We have pictures of members. We have some that are fit. We have, one member, John, he's had Parkinson's for 23 years. He rides into the gym in his electrolytes wheelchair, and his neurologist said 2 years ago that he had 6 months to live, and is still rocking and rolling. And the neurologist, contributes a lot of that to CrossFit. So we kind of like him to point out that yes, there's someone here that is less fit than you are, so you can probably do it. And after that, we sit down and we try to figure out how we can help them best. We ask, questions on where they've been, health-wise, what are they looking for, trying to find emotional reason for them to succeed. I think it's important because everybody says they want to lose 20 pounds. I had a woman fairly recently that said eventually we got down to she wanted to, fit in her bathing suit. And I said, why? Because she's currently driving across town to take her kids to the pool because she doesn't want to go to the pool right next to her because, she's embarrassed to take her kids there. And obviously that makes me want to help her a lot more than someone who just want to lose 20 pounds. And hopefully that's going to help her put in the time and effort to lose the 20 pounds.
I love that. You always have to ask why and then ask why again and ask why again.
Yeah.
Till you get to the real reason. That's awesome. That's great. So you've got a full-time staff, you've got a GM coming on board, you're going to be able to put more and more on his plate, allow him to grow and have more, or allow them to grow and have more opportunity. And you have a profitable business. You're on level 1 staff. What do you think has been the key to your success?
I think accountability is something that it comes down to. I think we attribute a lot of success with our members to accountability. And that's the same thing in terms of for business as well. We have a board that helps us a lot. We do have tremendous help from our mentor, from you as well. And since both Carl and I are mentors, like everything we say kind of goes through the mentoring filter. So it's kind of like, imagine being married to a shrink or something. It's kind of, it could be quite challenging from time to time, but the accountability and having a sounding board, it's something that has been tremendously important in our success. And, marketing for you and John in the beginning, Josh, Chris, and everyone else, we try to help the Two Brain family. So we do what we can. And if we say that we are developing something in terms of marketing, we want to do it so we can give it back. If we're doing something in terms of coaches development, we say that out loud. So we've made a commitment to actually push through.
Well, first of all, thank you for coming on today. And thanks for chatting with us. If people want to find you, people want to talk to you, people want to hang out, where can they find you?
Yeah, the easiest way would probably be at Oskar with a K at twobrainbusiness.com. If you, for some reason, would be strolling around in the streets of Stockholm and then you would be around a gym, you're more than welcome to come in. We have amazing coffee.
Beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. And I'll probably see you in June, right?
That's right, man.
I'll see you in June.
Cool.